Hi, Scott Lackman, 4510 TV. Another episode on our Food Lovers series brought to you in association with Longyard Beef Company and Two Old Ducks. Today on our episode we've got Tanya Hubbard and Jill Skinner. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, how are you?
Very good. Now let's start with you, Tanya. Where are you from and your company?
I'm a Sunshine Coast girl, very much local to Queensland. My company is the Gluten-Free, Grain-Free Company, and Whisk and Bowl, which is all about good quality gluten and grain-free food.
Lovely. And Miss Jill Skinner, you're from the CWA.
I'm from CWA, yes.
Your involvement there?
I am the Division President of South Coast Division. I look after an area from Kilcoy down to Moggill.
Okay.
There are 14 branches in that area.
Quite a large area to cover.
Yes, it is.
Now, with our two guests today on today's episode of Food Lovers series, we're cooking off. We're going between gluten-free cooking and grain-free produce. I'll spit that out. Gluten-free, grain-free against traditional methods of cooking and produce. Tanya, let's start with you. For the audience out there, if we don't know, what is gluten-free?
So gluten-free is essentially removing that one protein that's a real issue for people that have celiac disease or high gluten sensitivity, which means not cooking with wheat, spelt and a number of other traditional grains.
Okay. And Jill, when I talk about traditional methods of cooking and traditional foods, what are you bringing to the table today?
Just the simple, ordinary scone mixture that anyone can use. We have discussed all different types of making scones, but I like the more the traditional way.
Okay. Ladies, we are going to have you on stage having your bake-off, scone versus scone. Before we get up on stage, Tanya, can we just elaborate a bit further about the grain-free produce?
Sure. So grain-free means no wheat, corn, rice, oats, barley or rye, which makes cooking a scone pretty tough. But for me it was about taking traditional methods of cooking, looking at the quality of what makes a really awesome scone, and working out a way to bring that back to the table. So simple, beautiful, but just happens to be gluten and grain free.
And also we've noticed in trends of food and in changes of people's lifestyles, they're going for the gluten-free method maybe because of their own health. They're looking for alternative diets.
Yeah, look, absolutely. There's trends and then there's trends. For me, it's about feeling well, it's about being well, and I think if people are pursuing wellness and they take stuff out of their diet, whether it's gluten or whatever it is, dairy, if they feel better, that's good. That's it.
All right. Up on stage, ladies, the cook-off of the scone-off, gluten-free versus traditional methods. I'll let you do your thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
I use blanched almond meal because that little anti-nutrient that's wrapped up in the skin can give some people a bit of a tummy upset. So when it's blanched, you don't have that problem. If you're nut-free, you can just change it for some pumpkin seed meal or some sunflower seed meal. Easy done, right? Anyone nut-free? There's a lot of nuts, but yeah, sorry. Anyway, so it's 1 cup of almond meal, blanched almond meal. I use arrowroot as a starch instead of gluten. So what I'm trying to do is replicate. My scones aren't going to be anywhere near as spunky and sexy as these ones, I promise you that, but they're still really good. They get a really nice crunch on the outside because I use, instead of eggs and water and dairy in the mix, I use a good old banana. Half a banana is the equivalent to 1 egg in baking, and more so in gluten-free baking. It adds lots of really lovely moisture and it gives it a little bit of a sweetness without adding any sugar. But I was needing to find a way to hold together almond meal, chia seeds, arrowroot, a pinch of salt and bicarb soda in a way that it actually kind of came together like a scone dough. You call it dough?
Yes.
So it comes together gently as a scone dough and needs to bake at a high temperature, so you still get this crust on the outside, but it's light on the inside.
It's not a piece of football.
It's not a piece of football, yeah. So when I'm doing bananas, I travel a lot and I often don't carry a lot in my chef's kit when I'm doing cooking demos. So if you ever need to mash a banana, keep the skin on and just smash it in the skin. So
Very
then
clever.
when you have a, could I just get a fork, guys? Would you have a metal fork I could use? So you
it's
just
good
do
to have
this.
a man run after you, isn't it?
I know, it's lovely. Yeah, we have a little entourage. They're gorgeous. Our volunteers are the best people at these shows, yeah?
They are.
And if you want to play a little trick on a friend, I've done this to my gorgeous husband. Jab a knife in the top and ask him to mash the banana with lots of rigour. And of course the mashed banana comes out the top. But basically what you've done is you've mashed the banana.
They have to learn that gluten-free people, it takes, if they eat anything with flour, or if I was to touch that with my floury hands, it can take a week to come out of their system if they're highly intolerant. I couldn't believe that when my friend, she ate one sandwich that just a little tiny bit of a bread, and someone had told her that it was gluten-free, and she, within 2 hours, she was vomiting. She had to sit by the side of the road. She was driving, and then she had to sit for 2 hours to be able to continue the trip home. And then the rest of the week, she had to get it out of her system.
We're back with Tanya Hubbard and Jill Skinner, CWA and Grain Free Company. Ladies, who was the winner of the Scone Off?
I think our lady here was, simply because she taught a good way of making scones, because gluten-free can be a damned awful experience if it's not done nicely.
Well, very gracious in defeat, and Jill. Tanya, let's talk about an honour. Jill from CWA has just announced you the Scone Off winner. Tanya, she is. Tanya, let's talk about the produce that was used in today's show.
Sure. So I guess I need to say it's pretty humbling to stand beside somebody that's had years of experience in food. And really at the end of the day, every technique came from that tradition. So I think that's where we build a bridge in food. The thing I was really passionate about today was we actually got to use a lot of local produce with two really simple recipes. So everything from a beautiful local jam made from local fruit. I just made a bit of butter on stage using local cream. We used some really lovely local honey. What else did I use? Oh, the most luscious strawberries. How does it get any better than that? Really?
No, it was. And it was a simple way of making butter. And there's some young ones in the audience, and she was able to show them how to do the butter simply and easily, and how we did it 100 years ago.
I don't think 100 years, Jill. Maybe about 20. But some great chemistry between possibly new modern techniques of food and perhaps more traditional method. At the end of the day, viewers, I think I'll go with Jill's scones. But thank you very much. Another episode on Food Lovers Series, brought to you by 4510 TV in association with Long Yard Beef and the Two Old Ducks. Thank you, Tanya. Your particular company, how do we get in contact with you?
Sure. The recipe I used today, you can get at glutenfreegrainfree.com.au. Click on recipes and go to the bread recipe. Thanks.
Well, the great Scone Off. How do we go there, ladies and gentlemen? For the Food Lovers series here on 4510 TV, Jill Skinner, a clear winner there with traditional scone making techniques in the scone. But a bit of fun here as our Food Lovers series. Now, let's talk about episode 6 coming up very shortly. Episode 6 on the Food Lovers, we're having a sausage tying competition. A bit of fun, a bit of frivolity. Our guests there are Jamie Dunn, 98.9 FM, and also Lyndon Smith from 92.7 Mix FM on the Sunshine Coast. With the great help of Josh Long from Long Yard Beef Company. The boys are going to go up in a sausage making competition. Stick with us for that. Episode 6 coming up on the Food Lovers series on 4510 TV.